If you're not using AI models to help speak English and learn as a second language speaker, you're missing out. AI models can be a great way to practice English and improve your speaking, feel more confident, and just be better prepared in English. So let's do a quick review of Chat GPT voice mode and how it can help you to increase your English skills. There are some big issues with Chat GPT that I'm going to address in this video, and there are some ways that you can fix it and make it a better teacher and tutor for you. So let's get started. I'm going to evaluate Chat GPT on a number of criteria. My flow through is this. I want to see how Chat GPT adapts to beginner level English, intermediate level English, and advanced level English. I'm going to be evaluating Chat GPT on some very important criteria in how it works with second language speakers. The first is how it adapts to different levels. And there's a trick which I'll teach you a little bit later to make it a little better at this because it's not very good at it natively. The second is how natural it feels interacting with these tools. Does it feel like a native speaker? Do the conversations feel good or do they feel a little bit weird? The third criteria is how well it teaches English. Can you use it as a learning tool? Will it give you vocabulary? Will it correct your grammar patterns? And the fourth is just the overall approach that it uses to speaking English and to interacting with students. So does it slowly escalate the level of difficulty, or does it kind of speed up and throw you more difficult things right away? You can scroll ahead to your section because some of these things may not be relevant for your level of difficulty. Feel free to skip the beginner section if you're not a beginner level speaker of English. As somebody who's just starting out with English, Chat GPT has some problems. I'm going to teach you how to fix those problems and make it a better teacher for you. So let's jump into Chat GPT voice mode here. I'm going to start a new chat and I'm going to enter voice mode. As just a side note here, I'm going to be replicating the speaking pathways of a very beginner level student. So I'm going to be speaking in very simple sentences. I'm going to be making lots of mistakes. Let's see how Chat GPT handles this. Hello, my name Ryan.
Hey there, Ryan. Nice to hear from you as always. Let me know what you'd like to dive into today, and we can jump right in.
I want to speak English.
Absolutely, we can do that. Let's just have a nice, relaxed conversation in English. You can speak about anything you like, and I'll be here to help and give you a little feedback along the way if you want it. Hey, I'm glad you're here and ready to practice. Just go ahead and start talking about anything on your mind, and we'll have a nice chat in English.
Okay, so we can see that that wasn't good. It was very difficult to interact with the tool. I didn't feel very comfortable with it. It was not really doing the kinds of things that I wanted it to do. It wasn't guiding the conversation, but there's a very easy fix. You need to pre-program ChatGPT and you need to prompt it with your desired outcomes for English. So for a beginner level speaker, I would be using a prompt like this, and I'm going to post this in the comments so that you're able to see this one. I'm a beginner level speaker of English. I would like you to teach me to speak English in a conversational setting. I want you to use simple vocabulary, speak slowly, and give feedback when I make grammar mistakes, and most importantly, take the lead in the conversation. You're going to submit this and give it a moment to work, and it's even giving a little bit of a conversational start guide. So, hi, what's your name? You can answer like this, my name is, okay, so let's start right from there. Hi, my name is Ryan.
Nice to meet you, Ryan. That was perfect. All right, let's go on. Question 2. Can you tell me where you are from? Feel free to answer in a simple way, and I'll help as we go along. That's great, Ryan. You're doing really well. So you're from Canada. Wonderful. Next question. What do you like to do in your free time? Take it step by step,
I
and
like
I'm here
to
to
play
help.
golf.
Awesome. That's a really clear and simple answer, and it sounds great. So you like to play golf. That's a fun hobby. Let's keep going with that.
What is your favorite golf place?
That's a great question. So my favorite golf place would probably be somewhere with beautiful scenery and not too crowded, maybe a nice coastal course. Now, let's turn it back to you. Do you have a favorite place where you like to play golf, or are you just
I
starting out?
to start recently.
Got it. So you just started recently. That makes a lot of sense, and it's a great hobby to get into. You're doing really well with your English too, so
Okay,
keep it
so
up.
it does a pretty good job of helping students after that prompt. It gives some suggestions and some feedback about some of the mistakes I made. It was much slower. It used simpler vocabulary, and it presented ideas in a more suitable way for beginning level speakers. So this is a good tool for beginning level speakers. It's not great. It feels a little bit awkward. It is a little bit hard to prompt, and it's a little bit hard to control in the moment. And it really doesn't like to lead the conversation very much. So it leaves a lot of things up to me to direct the conversation. Even though it's been specifically prompted to do this, it lets the student take control of the conversation. This is great at an intermediate level. It's very good at an advanced level, but for beginner level speakers, they want somebody to control the conversation. They want to listen a little bit more than they speak, and ChatGPT kind of fails here. Let's see how we can apply this tool to an advanced level, because there are problems at the advanced level that don't really come up at the intermediate level. So let's explore those. I'm going to start a new chat. I am going to prompt it in a very similar way. So I'm going to change it just ever so slightly, and I'm going to say I'm an advanced speaker of English this time, and I would like to practice at a C1, C2 level. So I'm just slightly tweaking it, and by this level, you should be able to kind of understand what you would like it to teach. So you can say you're practicing IELTS questions, or you're practicing for university, or you work in a doctor's office, and it will kind of gear the conversation towards those particular case uses. Let's jump into the voice chat and see how it handles advanced conversations. Hi.
Hey there. All right, so let's dive in. In a C1 or C2 level chat, we can definitely weave in some more sophisticated vocabulary as we go along. For instance, the idea of AI in education might lead us to talk about cognitive autonomy, basically whether learners are still developing their independent thinking when they use AI tools. So feel
I'm
free to share your
sorry, could
thoughts.
you repeat that? What is it called again?
Of course. The term I mentioned is cognitive autonomy. It basically refers to the ability to think and make decisions independently, without relying too heavily on external tools. So as we chat about AI and learning, we can think about how it impacts that kind of independent thought. Let's keep the conversation rolling.
What do you think are some of the best uses for AI?
Well, I think some of the best uses for AI are those that amplify human skills rather than replace them. For example, in education, AI can be a fantastic tool for personalized learning. It can adapt to a student's pace and give tailored feedback, which is something that can really support them without taking away their cognitive autonomy. There's that phrase again. So, in short, I see AI as a way to enrich the learning process by offering resources that might not be possible otherwise. But it's all about balance, right? Let me know if you have any thoughts on that.
I think AI is very good in business scenarios. It can be used to improve user confidence and to improve productivity. But I think there's a real danger in reliance on AI technologies to implement in the workplace.
Absolutely. And you've made a really insightful point there. I'd say you've naturally tapped into a more advanced concept, which we might call technological dependency. That's just a fancy way of describing the risk you mentioned. That if we lean too heavily on AI, we might lose some of our own problem solving or creative muscles. And yes, AI can definitely boost user confidence and productivity, especially in business contexts like the ones you're familiar with. The key is just being mindful of that balance.
All right. So for an advanced user, I see a couple of problems with this. One, the conversation was very good. It was sort of one-ended. The AI kind of ChatGPT dominates the conversation to a large extent. It uses very big words and very complex structures, which is it's both good and bad. So it's very nice for listening practice, but for actual like conversation and being able to partner with the AI in kind of a real world setting, it creates a bit of a problem. It's just dominating the conversation a little bit too much. It's not giving me the time or space to kind of formulate my thoughts on individual component parts of the conversation. The other thing that it kind of misses at this level is the small mistakes that a nearly native speaker or a very advanced level speaker would be making. So I made a couple of small mistakes in there purposely, and it just skipped over them. And sometimes that's good, but sometimes it's nice to have that little bit of feedback. And it fails at this at a advanced level. So it really kind of it concentrates on the conversational setting rather than the teaching setting. Okay. One of the other things that you can do at an advanced level, though, is you can tailor make the advanced level to your specific needs. So within the same conversation here that has been prompted with my advanced needs, I'm going to kind of tailor it to a specific use scenario. Let's say I'm going to be taking the IELTS test next month. I want to get ready for this test. Hi, I am taking the IELTS test next month. Could you run me through a speaking version of the test? One question is fine, and then I would like you to give me an estimate of my IELTS score.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do a little IELTS speaking practice with you. Let's try a common type of IELTS speaking question. I'll give you a topic, and you can respond as if we're in the actual exam. So here's a typical prompt. Describe a memorable journey you have taken. You should say where you went, how we traveled, what you did during the journey, and explain why it was memorable. Take your time, and then I'll give you a bit of feedback and an estimated score.
Okay. I went on a journey last year, and I was living in Canada at the time. I bought a van, and I spent almost a year traveling through America, the United States, and Canada. I went down to Nevada and New Mexico, and then came up to the British Columbia coast.
That's a fantastic story and a really interesting journey. You did a great job describing the places you traveled and the route you took. Now, just a gentle piece of feedback. You might say, I was living in Canada rather than in a Canada, just to keep it smooth. But overall, your fluency and detail are strong. In terms of an IELTS speaking estimate, I'd say you're performing around a band 7.5 to 8 range. You're clear, you're coherent, and you're adding some nice detail. Keep that up and you'll do great.
Okay, so you can prompt it live in the setting that you want it, and you can actually tell it at this point what to do. So I'd like to study the IELTS, or I am a business person and I have a presentation coming up. I would like to give you the presentation and I'd like to get feedback on it. So this is a great way to tailor ChatGPT to your learning needs. So my overall impressions of the tool is that yeah, it's pretty beneficial, and it does a pretty admirable job of speaking and being a conversational partner in English. There are some pretty major drawbacks with it that a traditional teacher wouldn't face, like the tailoring of content to ability. It doesn't have that level of adaptability that a teacher would have. It doesn't fluidly move through some of the more difficult concepts. So, for example, when I'm teaching my own students, I put in pretty advanced concepts, even for beginner level students because I want them to start thinking about it, and I want them to build little pieces of vocabulary that they can use talking about it. ChatGPT doesn't do this at all. It just works on the prompt, and that's what it's designed to do, so I can't fault the program. It is doing exactly what I told it to do, but it doesn't feel 100% natural, the conversations. My other big issue is that there's a lot of dramatic pauses. It doesn't like to lead conversations. It really struggles taking lead in the conversations. And so for a beginner level student, this is a difficult thing because you have to lead the conversation. For advanced students, this isn't such a big deal, but sometimes it's nice to just have that extra prompting. Even though it's been specifically prompted to lead the conversation, it is very hesitant and it doesn't like to do that. So you have to take the reins. You have to do that prompting on your own and drive the conversation, which, to be honest, is a great practice in itself, but it just kind of it lowers the natural fluid feeling of the tool. So my overall review is, yeah, you should be using this tool to study English, but it's not a replacement for a real teacher. It is a supplementary tool at this stage, and it is a very good supplementary tool. It can be used to very quickly and easily practice your English skills and build your English comprehension, your vocabulary, your speaking patterns, and it can be even beneficial for pronunciation problems, although they have to be pretty dramatic for ChatGPT to pick up on these. It kind of fails very much to pick up on pronunciation problems. Thank you very much. I'm Ryan. This is English Learning Adventures. If you like what I do, give me a like and follow.